Hi, everybody. Welcome to Food for Thought. Peyten Williams of Bowbend Consulting, and I'm Becky McKnight. We're here every Thursday at noon throughout the school year with a few school holidays thrown in there. And we're happy to be here. We're happy to talk about the books with the thought leaders in parenting. Who's saying what are the new trends? What's happening? And what are just the consistent values that run through every generation that are important to remember?
And
So,
Becky, I am so excited about this week because one thing I love about Food for Thought is that you read a lot of parenting books, and I do too, but I can't read them all. And this week, you are going to start talking about one that I have not read yet. So I'm so excited to benefit from your wisdom and from the wisdom of Emily Oster. Can you
yeah, well, if you
see?
open up the slideshow, I'm going to show the folks and remind them kind of who is she. One slide in. Um, Emily Oster has written a number of books, and she's really dedicated to data. She is a professor at Williams, I believe, either Brown or Williams, and she's an economics professor. But she has made a name for herself through data and applying it. If you advance one slide, Peyton, then we have pictures of several of her books that I have posted.
Oh, do you see them right here?
I don't, I only see the
Oh,
opening.
weird. Hold on. Let's see. I don't know if it's not going or not. Let me try again. Sorry, guys. Can you see now?
There we go.
All right, my bad.
All right. So she's basically writing a book for every stage of parenting that she's in, which I find so interesting. So she made a name for herself, and both of my daughters, when they were expecting, read these books because she looks at all the things that they tell expecting mothers and new mothers and fathers, and she debunks the ones that are just myths, and she supports the ones that actually have credible data supporting them. So, what she has done in the book that I'm going to talk about today, The Family Firm, is she has elementary age children of her own, maybe early middle school. And she talks about like create understanding your family
Mm,
as a business, as a firm that needs to have a strategic plan, needs to have guidelines, needs to even have a 5-year plan, a mission statement, needs to review the data, look back, debrief, all of the things that good companies do, but with a heart and obviously in a family context. But it's very, very interesting. I would say if I were going to recommend it, that the first several chapters are great, and the rest of the book is a lot of data. And if you're a data person, you might want to grab this book. I'm not, I don't look at all those bar charts with a whole lot of interest, but the first part of the book is worth its weight in gold. So we're going to go through that today.
awesome. Well, I laugh for all of us kind of business minded or dual working families. This might just be a metaphor that really rings true for us in a lot of ways.
Oh, it's incredible. Um, I have taken all of my clients through this process, and Peyton has agreed to be the guinea pig so that next week we're going to come back. But I encourage you, if you're joining us today, and or even you're just watching the recording, to sit down with whomever you partner with to parent and talk about these issues.
Mm.
Um, Charles and I always had these kind of conversations, but we didn't have them in an organized fashion. And I was always curious about one couple in our church that would take a weekend away every August to do exactly this work. Emily Oster did not make this up. This is something that she even credits Stephen Covey, who wrote the book Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. You've heard of that book. And
So
he's
good.
the one who says every family needs to do this. Peyton, do you and Stan have a way that you reflect ahead?
Yes, I actually was laughing. Like, this is a fake background. I could like go and pull my books from my bookshelf right in my office right here. And every year, we haven't done it in 2 years. So this is a good kick in the pants for me to get back on it. But we got really good advice right when we got married to go away, just the two of us, for 4 days because it takes three to relax. And then on the fourth, you've got to travel. So get your like third day of relaxing. And really sit down and ask very similar questions to this. Like, what is it that we hope? What is it that we want? What's working well? What's not working well? Not just about our family, but ourselves, our jobs, our spiritual lives, our marriage. And we actually have a book where we wrote things down so we could see like what are trends from year to year. And so this is great, Becky. My husband's gonna hate you because he's always like, "Oh, I don't want to do it," but he's always glad we do afterwards. So,
It's a great opportunity. You don't have to take a weekend away, but I highly recommend it.
yeah,
And it helps you get on the same page because it is a lot. We recognize that families have a lot coming at them.
yeah,
The school year is difficult to navigate. And what you end up doing is being reactive rather than proactive. And Emily Oster says you're making decisions on the margin. And
ah,
when you make your decisions on the margin, eventually it hurts your bottom line. And I think that's so true. She talks like an economist, but I see through that to the heart of who do we want to be?
mm,
Who do we want our children to be? And how will our day-to-day lives reflect that?
mm,
So
yes,
she gets you to set priorities and then to have those priorities show up on the calendar. Let's go
yeah.
to the next slide.
Oops.
Okay, so she has a chapter on the four F's, and you may enjoy kind of this helps you remember. But
Mhm.
what we will do, and we'll do with Peyton when we get to the worksheet, which is a further slide, is we're going to determine a mission statement for the family. And it's very interesting the different mission statements that are out there. Your mission statement may be a reflection of your faith. It may
Mm.
be a reflection of your secular values. Um, I've run across a bunch of different mission statements. The one I like the best comes from Justin Whitmel Early in a book that I always reference, Habits of the Household. And he says, our family will be a school of love.
I love that.
And
That
so what he says, and it's very interesting, that means so in your family, um, you are teaching your children the golden rule. You are teaching them how to love others, how to love God, and to love others, right? And so that includes how do you deal with conflict in the home? How do you all show that love and and respect? How do you learn to put yourself second in all humility? Think of others as more important than yourself. How do you apologize? How do you accept an apology? And what does that look like when you've restored fellowship? So, what an amazing family mission statement.
I love that. Well, and I think I've talked about this before, Becky, but Stan started this with our family every January 1. He gets like a big poster board and we go over kind of some very similar questions where we include the kids in helping us do that kind of defining our values and what matters most to us. Because I do feel like that has been great because sometimes I'm surprised by what they say and what matters to them. And I want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah, I love that, Peyton. I think what I have done this with all of my clients this year in August Because if you are an educator like Peyton and I are, or else you're, or even you just have school age children, you realize there's two beginnings to the school, to the year. We get we get to boot up in August and then we get to reboot in January. And if you decide to take a weekend or just an evening to come up with your family plan, then I love involving the children. You don't necessarily want to involve your first graders, but by the time they get a little bit older, third, fourth, fifth, and beyond, you can, on that weekend, plan how you involve the children, just like Stan and Peyton do. And then they can work on their goals. And basically what you're doing is you're teaching them executive function, right? You're teaching them to be proactive and to set goals and to learn, well, once I have a goal, how do I go about implementing it? And that's tricky.
That is tricky. I think too, there's something, a lot of times it's like, well, I don't really know what matters most. Like, how do I come up with this? And one thing that I use with my clients that somebody taught me is to envision what you want your child to say to you after they walk across the graduation stage. Because there's some, if you just sit and talk out loud, well, gosh, I wish they would say, thank you for always supporting me and for loving me. And I'm so prepared now, right? It's like, okay, well, those are things that matter to you, whatever it is, right? You want them to be independent. And so if you're kind of thinking, I don't really know, like, how do I define my values? I'm not sure. That's just a great tool to get you started.
Yes, and I would take it one step further and I would say, um, none of mine were actually at 18 quite ready to articulate that, I think. But what do you want your children's home
Mm,
to carry forward from your family's values?
mm.
Like when you see your children setting up a home, what do you want to recognize from the home you set up for them? What
Oh,
are
that's
those
beautiful.
values that transcend all generations that you inherited from your family? And it looks so different in the 21st century.
Yeah.
Um, looks so different. How do you apply those values to the ever-changing technology horizon? What do those values look like when things are disappointing in the world or scary?
Yeah.
That'll be
And those are
quite
such good
interesting.
anchors because honestly, Becky, no matter what's going on in the world, a lot of those things don't change. Right.
They don't.
Yeah.
They don't. Um, let's go for, let me wait, let's see if oh, one thing, do you see number three, feedback? So I think this is really interesting. Emily Oster basically says that based on data, families do the same thing year after year without reflection.
Mm.
So if you signed your child up for,
Soccer.
right, let's say you signed up for the powerhouse soccer team that travels on the weekends, because you just see that little first grader just kicking in just the right way, and you just know they're going to be a super soccer player. After the first year, you go off with your partner, you sit down with whomever parents with you, and you say, we're exhausted. We traveled every other weekend. Look at what the money we spent. Is our child happier, or did you notice them complaining as you got in the car to take the trip for the soccer weekend? Debrief, analyze, and say, oh, well, maybe the church soccer league would work for our family a whole lot better than this powerhouse travel league.
Right. Well, and honestly, Becky, what you're saying is so powerful because so many times we parent out of fear, right? It's like, well, if I don't sign him up for this, he'll never make the blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, wait a second. Is making the blah, blah, blah your ultimate family value and what matters most? Or is what matters most something different and you can get that in a different way? And sometimes, y'all, that's real scary. Like, I will fully admit it is really hard for me to choose something that I worry or that I have fear about for my child's future. Like, is that going to inconvenience them in the future? we parent like to catch up or keep up with the Joneses rather than to actually, you know, parent intentionally towards our values. And I do think that feedback is so important, but you really have to be honest with yourself about, okay, is this really working to further our family values? And if it's not, are we strong enough to be flexible, as point four says, to adjust those plans?
Right. And do you, so one of my daughters ended up, rowing at a Division I school. And after sophomore year, after waking up at 4 a.m. for frigid practices in cold water, and limiting her social life to the 16 girls that were on that rowing team, she said, I'm not going to the Olympics. I don't want to be a professional rower. I don't think I want to be on this team. Do you want your child to be a professional soccer player? Do you want them to play soccer in college? Do they want to do that in first grade? Right? Very few first graders are thinking about that. So I think you need to listen, and that includes all the things. Now, I wish my mom had been a little tougher on me in piano because I love piano and I'm terrible. And my parents paid for a lot of lessons. So actually, I think that had my parents actually had a conversation with me and sat down and said, piano takes time, it takes dedication. You truly need to practice 30 minutes a day. If we had had a transparent conversation, I might have signed up,
Hmm.
but it was a little bit of just of a wave. I got signed up, and that's how it happened.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, like I'm also not down on, you know, really elite level things. If your kid wants it, is driving it, loves it. Like there are some kids who we play with on our crazy team who, when given the choice, would go outside and play soccer in any moment of their free time. They are in the right place, right? Their parents made the right choice for those kids. For those of us kind of on the bubble or in the middle, that actually is a tougher choice because you might say, oh, well, maybe they will grow to love it. And that's where I think what you're saying, this feedback, this collecting data, this reflection, not just doing it when they're burned out or not just doing it like, oh, at the beginning because everybody else is doing it, but really being thoughtful and intentional. I just challenge anyone listening right now, like take a second and put a date on your calendar right now, like reserve it. Send a calendar invite to your parenting partner and say, this is when we're going to reflect. This is when we're going to just stop and take stock. And that will be beautiful for you too.
Yeah. And how is it reflected in what your original values were? So if you want a creative child and you notice that your child is occupied every minute of their day in an adult structured program, you say, ooh, well, if creativity was one of my values, I'm not fostering it. I'm not giving them that downtime, that that free time to explore, or the space, right, to do that in.
Yeah. Amazing. I love this.
Let's go forward. Okay. So this is what Peyton has signed up for. And I would, if I were you, I would take a screenshot so that you can take this back into your home and with your spouse or your co-parent, go ahead and think about these things. Now, one of the family missions that Emily Oster mentioned, I have it written down, as opposed to Justin Early, who said, our family will be a school of love. She said, ours is family first, prioritize family time and raise thoughtful kids. Now, notice that the mission statement is not granular. It's not a recipe for how you're going to do that. It's really a reflection of what your overarching value is. Ours in our family We never wrote it down, but I would say ours was the golden rule, teaching our children to love God and to love others. Um,
Becky, it's funny you say that because our family mission is love God and love others. And
oh,
whenever we really do try to do family meetings once a week, we're probably at the like once every two, once every three, once every four these days. But at the beginning of our family meeting every week, we'll say, in this family, we love God and love others.
oh, I love it. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty all encompassing, right? Kind of covers everything. But so then the priorities for the children are overarching priorities. So you want to have, now don't spill all the beans, Peyton, because next week we want everybody to come back with this. But your priorities for your children that might be that they will be independent. Um,
That should be on everyone's list, by the way.
and right, because your schedule and the way you run your household has to reflect growing independence. And that starts in kindergarten. It really starts earlier. I'm here in California today with my oldest and her children, and the 2-year-old goes to Montessori school. You can't even imagine how much independence she has. She has to take her food to school in little containers. When it's time for lunch, she's expected to plate it. Then she eats her lunch. Then she goes through the line, waits in line with her dirty plate, has learned how to wash and dry the plate and put it up for the next day. And she's 2.
Yeah.
So think about it. What do you guys do in your household, Peyton?
To help foster independence,
Mhm.
I laugh. I actually, one of the things, and this is just little, but, and I've said it before, we just don't carry their stuff. Like I see so many, every time I drive my kids to school, I pass by a school where a lot of people walk to school. And there's one mom who's like carrying her children's 3 book bags up this hill, and her kids are like bopping up the hill. And they're not like weak kids. They look like they're fine. And I'm just like, I just don't carry your stuff. But I laugh. I actually did help yesterday. But my son asked me, he was like, hey, mom, my knee really hurts after my cross country game. Will you carry my stuff? He doesn't expect me to do it. He knows I expect him to be able to carry his stuff. So that's something little, right? But it's like, there are sometimes things that we do to help our kids because we think we're being nice, but really we're disempowering them.
We're enabling. We're enabling. It's really clear. So think about what are your priorities. Come back next week, bring friends, get a screenshot of this, and talk to your spouse about it. So priorities for parents. Um, I think that's really important. You tend to forget yourself as a parent. Do you want to be growing? Growing in the Lord, if you're from a Christian family. So have you set time aside for that? Are you in a small group? What are you doing for that? Is that a priority in your life?
Mm.
Um, is your exercise? Charles and I both are big exercisers, and we really had to negotiate when the kids were young, who was going to exercise on what day.
Yeah.
Is that really important?
Yeah. Well, and I think too, let's not forget that our children become us. Like you've said so many times, right? And so the priorities for parents is also a way that you are, protecting your kids because the more you take care of yourself, not in like, I'm going to go get a massage, although that's great, but more like, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to eat right, I'm going to prioritize my marriage, right? I'm going to not work, I'm going to set boundaries around work and technology and all the things that we know just as humans that we would want for our kids. Well, why not do them ourselves?
That's
I think
that's
that's huge.
awesome. And really, I cannot encourage you more that if you don't think about these things, you're always going to be catching up. You will make decisions on the margin, as Emily Oster says. And I used to pray, please let me be proactive and not reactive, because I would feel by the time February came around that I was just caught in this wave that I couldn't get out of.
Yeah. Becky,
Um,
sometimes I feel like parents feel it 24/7.
right, right. And I get that because it's one thing after the next. So
Mhm.
take this opportunity. And I love doing this with my clients. And really, they don't necessarily need me, but what it does is they call and it carves out the time.
Yeah. It's like
It,
having a personal trainer. Like
yeah,
I'm not going to miss my gym when I've gone to get a personal trainer.
exactly. Right. You're going to get it done.
I'm
So the
going because I already paid for it. And they help me kind of push me a little bit, right? I might have walked on the treadmill, but my coach is going to actually make me sit down and do it. Um, so I mean, I think it is an amazing thing to get somebody like Becky to help you. I do it sometimes too, but Becky is amazing. And having somebody sit down with you to just give you time to talk it out is so helpful.
I love this activity, and I think it should be done before fall break. And then you can do it again in January. But I do think there are moments in the year that make sense, and the children understand that. They understand this is a new grade. So if you go to one portion of this planning, sitting down with the children, they sense that, oh, this is beginning of the year. I'm in sixth grade this year, and it's going to be different. And I need to, it helps them. And they will be doing that when they get to college and when they raise their family. Be obvious about it. Mom and dad are going away this weekend. We're going to think about our family, and we're going to pray about it, and we're going to make some plans, and we'll come back and share that with you.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's great. I know one thing one lady in my small group, she laughs. She's like, I have a 7-year-old and I haven't been away with my husband since he was born. And I thought, gosh, that's just really hard, right? And I know one thing that gets in the way is, well, who's going to take care of my kids? Because not all of us have parents who can come and help. Not all of us have established babysitters. One tip that a friend gave me was, which we haven't done yet, but I'm kind of surprised I haven't, um, is to find a friend with whom your kids are friends and just say, I'll have your kids spend the night at our house for a weekend if you'll do the same for us. So, like weekend number one, the kids are spending the night with you and you've got them and they can go away and have some time together. Weekend number two, you get to go do the same thing. It's free. You already trust them because they're friends with you. And I think that, that's something that also can build community because look how you are pouring into another marriage or family that you want to be strong, to give them some space to do that and to give yourself permission to do it too.
Yes, I love that, Peyton, because truly for those families who have a mom and a dad, they're married, your marriage is your priority. After God, your marriage is the number one strength and bedrock for your children. And it's more important than they are because basically you're pouring into that marriage that creates that strength and that bedrock on which they stand.
Mm.
So I can't mention that enough. We only have 2 minutes. I want to say when you look at your weekday priorities, now Peyton's going to do this for next week. Children have different priorities. Emily Oster's priority is that she would have one meal seated per day around the table with her children.
Mm.
I think that's a really valuable, laudable priority. And so she does everything she can in her work because she, as a college professor, can get dragged into programs at night. And so if the programming makes her miss a meal with her family, she really, really considers. And every once in a while, she'll say, "Well, I'm not going to be able to have a meal today," but on the majority of times, she's there around the table with her children because she wrote it down and said, "This is a priority to be guarded."
Well, Becky, I am so excited for next week to get to talk through this with you and give everybody a model of what it looks like to, you know, use Emily Oster's model and to be coached by you. This will be fantastic.
I can't wait to see what you have to have down on your list, Peyton.
I've got some pressure now.
Better give Stan the heads up.
All right, thanks. Well, we'll see y'all next week at Food for Thought on Thursday.
Thanks for joining us. Come back.